In conclusion, I would like to mention an important answer. When the media alleges and says that Islam was spread by the sword, the best reply to the misconception that Islam was spread by the sword is given by the famous historian Dilassi O'Leary in his book Islam at the Crossroad on page number 8. He says that history makes it clear that the legend of fanatical Muslims sweeping across the world, forcing Islam at the point of the sword, is the most fantastic, absurd myth that historians have ever repeated. I would like to repeat the statement. Dilassi O'Leary in his book Islam at the Crossroad on page number 8, he says that history makes it clear that the legend of fanatical Muslims sweeping across the world, forcing Islam at the point of the sword, it is the most fantastic, absurd myth that historians have ever repeated. We Muslims, we ruled Spain for 800 years. We didn't do our job. Later on, the Christian crusaders came and they wiped out the Muslims. There was not a single Muslim who could openly give the adhan, that is the call for prayer. We Muslims, we are the lords of Arabia. We ruled Arabia for 1400 years. For a few years, the French came. For a few years, the Britishers came. But overall, we Muslims, we ruled Arabia for at least 1,000 years. Yet today in Arabia, there are no less than 9 million Arabs or Coptic Christians. These Coptic Christians, they are bearing witness that Islam was not spread by the sword. We Muslims, we ruled India for about 1,000 years during the time of Mughals. If we read history, we will come to know. If we wanted, we could have converted each and every Indian at the point of the sword. We didn't do it. Today, the population of India, at least 80% of them, they are non-Muslims. These 80% non-Muslims, they are bearing witness that Islam was not spread by the sword. Which Muslim army came to Indonesia, which has at least 86 to 87% Muslims? Today, Indonesia has majority number of Muslims. Which Muslim army came to Indonesia? Which Muslim army went to Malaysia, which has more than 50% Muslims, which has 63 to 64% Muslims? Which Muslim army went to the east coast of Africa? Which sword? The reply is given by Thomas Carlyle in his book Heroes and Hero Worship. The sword indeed. But where will you get your sword? Every new idea originates in the mind of one man against the whole world, that he will pick up the sword and propagate. You must take your sword and propagate. Thomas Carlyle, which sword is he talking about? He's talking about the sword of intellect, the sword of reasoning, the sword which conquers the hearts and minds of people. Even if we had the sword of metal and steel, we could not use it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, the verse I quoted at the beginning of my talk, from Surah An-Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 125. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izati al hasana wajadilhum billati ahsan. Invite to the way of thy Lord with wisdom and beautiful preachings, and argue with them and reason with them in the ways that are best and most gracious. So we cannot force anyone to accept Islam at the point of the sword, at the point of a gun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 256, La ikraha fi ddin, let there be no compulsion in religion. Qad tabayyana ar-rushdu min al-ghayy. Truth stands out clear from error. So we cannot force anyone to accept Islam. And there was an article published in the Reader's Digest, Almanac Yearbook 1984, and it was reprinted in the Plain Truth magazine, which showed the increase of the major world religions in the span of 50 years, from 1934 to 1984. And number one religion was Islam, which increased by 235%. Christianity, only 47%. Which war took place between 1934 to 1984, which forced millions of people to accept Islam? Which sword? Today, the fastest growing religion in Europe is Islam. The fastest growing religion in America is Islam. The fastest growing religion in UK is Islam. Which sword is forcing tens and thousands of Americans, thousands of Europeans to accept Islam? The media says that Islam subjugates the woman. Out of those people accepting Islam in the Western countries, 2/3 of them, they are women. Who is forcing these American and European women to accept Islam? Because Islam has a solution to the problems of humanity. Islam has given rights to women. Islam has uplifted women. Islam has a solution to the problems of humanity. Many people, they are impressed after they read the glorious Quran. Many people, they just hear the recitation of the glorious Quran and they embrace Islam. We know at the time of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, several people, the non-Muslims, they just heard the Quran and it had an impact on them. The enemies in the Meccan period, they heard the Quran and it had an impact on them. This is the beauty of Islam. This is the beauty of the glorious Quran. I would like to end my talk with the quotation of Adam Pearson. Even though he uses it in a negative way, I use it in a positive way. Dr. Adam Pearson, he said that people who worry that one day nuclear weaponry will fall in the hands of the Arabs, they fail to realize that the Islamic bomb, the bomb of the religion of peace, has already been dropped. It fell the day Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born.